Hey, I'm getting ready to make a new yarn, a 3-ply yarn this time, and I thought I'd record a bit because these colors are out of my comfort zone per se. I wanted something a little bit more natural, a little bit more muted, and so this started as 2 4-ounce braids that I actually took a little bit from each and split, so then I would have groups of 3. You'll see here where this is actually 2 pieces, and I'm just going to hold it together while I spin it, so it's no problem that it's in 2 pieces. You just sort of hold it and spin along. So I dyed this my normal fave way in a crock pot, but instead of really saturating the color, I went with more muted color, and we're looking at tan, Bermuda sand, clay, Aztec gold, golden pear, and straw. I'm going to spin this on my e-spinner, but let's get it weighed first to see if I split it evenly. So as I mentioned, I had 2 4-ounce braids to begin with, and then I took a little bit off of each one to make a third grouping of fiber, and I just want to weigh to see how close or how far off I was with my estimating. I do this, oh hi Mr. Peanut, I do this enough that I usually get a good feel for how much I should split, so if the cat will let me, I will get through here weighing these. So far those 2 look great, and yeah, listen, that is not bad. We're just off by a fraction of an ounce. So that should be good to go. If you're curious, I will put a breakdown of the dyes and amounts I use to achieve these colors on my blog. But for now, let's get spinning. Bye, Mr. Peanut. Here's a look at the progress thus far. We're probably about halfway through this braid here, and I'm not going to record myself spinning the singles. I'm sure we've all seen that time and time again. But stand by and I'll show you what each singles looks like on the bobbin. Okay, let's get this plying started. We're going to tie all 3 singles to our leader using my fave way, a square knot. And when you tie your singles on with a square knot, it's great because once the yarn is all done, you just move this piece down like this and everything slides off nice and clean. And here we have the finished 3-ply yarn here on my SpinOlution Mach III. Now to get the yarn skeined off, this is going to be a big one, or a long one I should say. Yeah, my arms are going to get very tired, but I'm going to power through and get this done. There's the first start of it. And now to continue on, fingers crossed that this will fit on my Lendrum Nitty Noddy. That is 100 wraps, aka 200 yards, and still a ways to go. It's going to be a nice long yarn. "200 wraps, aka 400 yards. This one is going to be a challenge to fit on the Nitty Noddy, but I'm going to do it. So I've mentioned in other videos, but I don't think I've shown how I tie the ends off on my freshly spun yarn. So here, while it's still in the Nitty Noddy, I'm going to do a little figure 8, as I like to call it, on both ends. So I'm taking one end here, splitting one side of the yarn in half, and just looping that around and tying it. I find this to be the most secure way to do it. Now, obviously, you don't have to do it the way that I do it, but I like to be able to be very clear of where my yarn starts and begins. I've bought yarn before, and it's like, where the heck is the end of this? Because sometimes they'll tie the ends together or use a separate piece of yarn to tie it. And then I'm just going to go and do the same thing on this end, and it's just got to dig out that piece there tucked underneath. And I'm going to zigzag it in here. And I figure too, because the ends do lose a bit of energy from being taken off the bobbin, I'm going to add a little bit of energy back in here, a little bit of twist to preserve that energy. But since you are going to lose a bit anyway, and I don't know about you, but my ends aren't necessarily spun as best compared to the rest of the yarn, I just would rather use that to tie it off, and then that will be cut off when I go to knit with it. And so that's just the method that works the best for me and the way that my brain likes to organize things. Nice and neat and tidy and orderly. All right, let's take a look at what this ended up like off of the Nitty Noddy. It's a bit bright today. I didn't realize when I filmed this that it was so washed out. But let's see. So this being a 3-ply, I expect it to be quite straight. And yeah, these colors, man, not what I would normally do, but I'm really liking this. Let's give it a soak. So we're going to do our usual here, fill up my little tiny cute little bar sink that easily fits one skein of yarn, add a bit of Synthropol, or in my case TNA soap, which is from a Canadian company. It's just like Synthropol. And this is just going to help set our yarn, get any dirt oils that were on our hands off, any residual dye that's left, though I don't expect there to be any, if at all, on this one. And he's a big boy, but he is quite straight. Again, 3-ply yarns I find to be very balanced. Once they're plied, I think I'm going to forego the thwacking part and just hang it outside. It's a gorgeous day, so perfect day to let this drip dry outside and not have to worry about it getting all over my floor. Okay, so it's been soaking a bit of time here. Let's pull the plug, and I'm going to give this another rinse to make sure we get all the suds off, and then out it will go into the sunshine. Okay, so here's a look at the finished 3-ply yarn. Didn't need a thwack, it was just soaked and hung out in the sunshine to dry. And yeah, these colors are so interesting to me. I really like to stretch my muscles sometimes and encourage myself to dye colors that I normally would not do. It's very, I guess, like autumn inspired, but I like the neutrality of it versus usually the really bright and fun colors I normally do. So I think I'm going to have to do more like this, more muted, more demure. I didn't have leftovers. I forgot to mention in the video. I had very little and I was just able to sort of edge it into the end, so I had nothing left over. And again, the color is really fascinating. And I also like with Handspun that you're never going to get a true solid color. If you look closely, you will see that some of the plies are like a slightly different shade because it depends on where you took it from the roving to spin it. And I love that personally. If I want solid color in my yarns, then I'll dye them after I spin it. So that is the making of this yarn in a nutshell. My goal for these videos is to just show a little glimpse into my creative process, especially when I'm doing something different than what I normally would do, to hopefully encourage others to explore and do the same sort of practice in their own spinning and dyeing journey. I'm hoping that it's helpful, that they're not too boring. Leave me a comment if there's something you would specifically like to see me do. This was from 3 rovings dyed at the same time and then spun together, so I am quite impressed that the color matches as well as it does. Basically, I just used my crockpot, tied them loosely together, and then just dyed section to section. If you're interested in knowing how I achieved that, I do have a video on crockpot dyeing in my YouTube. It is my favorite way of dyeing. I just find it very foolproof and slow and easy for anyone who's beginning. And I'm certainly not a beginner dyer. I dye many different aspects, but the crockpot is still my favorite. So once again, thank you so much for watching my video. I had this urge about a year or so ago to start doing more with my blog posts and actually making videos to help inspire others. I have no agenda but for the fact that I'd like to preserve the information as to how I came along this journey being a fiber artist, and hopefully will inspire others to do the same. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. I only have time to put maybe like 1 video a month out, and I'm actually running out of material right now. I have lots of ideas, I just need the time to film it. So if you don't find me too boring or annoying and you'd like to come on the journey with me, I would certainly love to have you. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.